It's Professor Dave. Let's compare tenses.
He knows a lot about all kinds of stuff. Professor Dave explains.
We just learned about the imperfect tense, and we also know about the Passato Prossimo. It may seem daunting to even learn these tenses, let alone know when to use them, particularly as they are not interchangeable. But as with everything else when learning a language, exposure and repetition is key. So let's go through a few general rules and examples that will help you know what to do. First, the imperfect is sometimes defined as a durative tense, meaning it describes a continuous action, which means the same thing as a progressive action. This is something ongoing in the past. The way we say this in English is usually something like, I was blanking. Yesterday, I was watching TV when my phone rang. In this case, the watching is paired with the ringing. The TV watching is ongoing, but the phone ringing is sudden and interrupts the first action. That is a construction that is quite common for the imperfect tense. Another clue is the presence of the word mentre, which means while and suggests ongoing action. It might be useful to visualize the imperfect action as a wave, continuous, while the passato prossimo is an arrow, punctuated and finished. Let's see some examples. Mentre andavo a scuola, ho incontrato tuo zio. Ieri, mentre insegnavo, ho sentito un tuono. Notice that one verb uses the imperfect, while the other uses passato prossimo. Again, this is because one action is ongoing, while the other is sudden. We can also have two progressive contemporaneous actions, meaning that they are happening at the same time. The imperfect will then be used for both verbs. Mentre andavo a scuola, ascoltavo la musica. Ieri, mentre insegnavo, i miei studenti parlavano tra di loro. The second guideline we want to mention is that the imperfect is used to describe a habitual or repetitive action, something that happened over and over in the past for a certain period of time. The point in time is left vague in that the beginning and end are not specified. The verb could be accompanied by adverbial expressions that will make these situations a little easier to identify. Some of these common expressions include di solito, generalmente, normalmente, sempre, spesso, costantemente, a volte. Passato Prossimo, instead, will use precise time expressions, things like last year, yesterday, this morning, and so forth. Let's see some more examples. Da bambino di solito bevevo il latte. Durante l'estate normalmente andavamo al mare, ma quella volta io sono andato in montagna. The next guideline tells us that the verb in the imperfect tense is descriptive, and it is used in order to describe a person or thing or situation which would not change immediately. These are usually called background situations. These add details to the story but are not essential for advancing the plot. In Italia ho incontrato una ragazza. Era bella, bionda e aveva 25 anni. This young woman was already beautiful, blonde, and 25 just before I met her, and most likely continued to be these things after we parted ways. Therefore, these tenses could never be simple past, since this tense only describes completed actions. Another example. Mio nonno abitava a Siena e faceva il dentista. Era alto, magro ed era sempre elegantissimo. Another rule to remember is that descriptions of the weather typically use the imperfect. Unless it's the main thing you are trying to communicate, weather tends to be a background condition and becomes part of the ongoing situation. Ieri sono andata a Firenze per la conferenza. Pioveva a cattinelle, ma non faceva freddo e la città era bellissima. The important thing here is that I went to Florence for a conference. The fact that it was raining but not cold is just a detail of the story. Even the fact that Florence was beautiful requires the imperfect because this is not a completed action. It is a continuous state. Florence continues to be beautiful even after you leave. You are now probably starting to understand why the choice of these tenses requires some practice. The same verb can take both tenses, and it's only the situation and context that will determine which tense to use. Here are just a few more examples, some using the imperfect, some using passato. Dormivo quando tu mi hai telefonato. Ieri ho dormito tutto il giorno. Ieri è piovuto tutto il giorno. Strano, perché quando ero bambino non pioveva mai in luglio. Quando abitavo in campagna non conoscevo nessuno. Allora ho deciso di trasferirmi in città. Da bambina avevo i capelli biondi. Ho avuto paura quando ho visto quell'uomo nel vicolo buio. Da bambina aveva paura del buio. Giovanni voleva andare in Spagna, ma sua moglie ha voluto comprare una macchina nuova e così adesso non hanno più soldi per le vacanze. Now that we know how and when to use these tenses, let's check comprehension. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to my channel for more tutorials. Support me on Patreon so I can keep making content. And as always, feel free to email me, ProfessorDaveExplains@gmail.com.